And the first thing I'd like to say is what challenges in the spiritual path are human challenges. Um, they are the same because we are all in the same journey as human beings. And challenges can be physical, emotional, psychological, um, or they can also be life challenges: where to go, what to do, who to be with, how to spend our time. And I, as a hypnosis practitioner and as a self knowledge and meditation teacher, I have seen mine, I've dealt with mine, I deal with mine, and I still have a few. But I've also seen many people uh, bringing their problems to me for some help. And I've also seen the solutions. I've seen many solutions, many problems and many solutions. And the first thing I'd like to say is that as human beings, in terms of our mind, we're divided in two. And this is really important to get to grips with. We have our conscious part and our subconscious part. So when we think about our life, about our problems or challenges, we need to take into account that there is a huge part of ourself, most of ourselves, that is subconscious. And then we have our conscious mind and the decisions we try and take or we take. And we need to somehow reconcile the fact that there is this enormous quantity of information and of driving force in our life that we normally, most of the time, don't know anything about, or we have glimpses of. And another thing that we need to understand is that our subconscious has got two parts. One is an automatic programmed part, and another one is an extremely creative and bright, luminous part. And we have these two driving force underneath that send up what are all of the winds of our life, all of the things that drive us in a certain direction or not. We like somebody. We don't know why we like somebody. And our conscious mind starts to make up answers, but there's some driving force within that makes us or lets us like somebody. Or we have a passion for something. And we can start, argumenting why we got the passion, what we like about it, but the passion is coming from within. So, conscious mind, subconscious mind. Subconscious has got an automated program part and a creative part that is super wise. And usually in the spiritual circles, and especially in the hypnosis practice that I do, we call that the higher self. Because together with that creativity and that love, it has wisdom and knowledge. So what are these challenges about? So first of all, the main problem with these challenges is that if they are a problem, it's because somehow we feel stuck and we feel like we can't move on, and we feel like there's some force that maybe is pinning us down, and usually this happens for a few main reasons. The first one is that we keep listening to the same type of voices in the head, the ones that are programmed. And we don't listen to the higher self, which is underneath it and submerged. That's the main reason. Another reason is doubt. Doubt is really, really a limitation, because we may have had a glimpse of what our creative self is telling us, but that glimpse gets lost because the programmed voices and the programming of our subconscious, cultural, um, family, friends, everything, is noise. And so, even though we may have had a glimpse, we hear all these voices and we have doubt. So, those two are the main two reasons. There's another reason, which is also quite important, which is non acceptance. So, let's say we have risen above the noise, we have felt our higher self, and we know now that that problem is a challenge that we can face and overcome and grow from it, but we don't have the patience, meaning we are not accepting the process. We are not accepting that that challenge, even if we have found the solution, may still be with us for some time. So how do we revert this? How do we, if we are in a place where we feel stuck, where there is a problem that seems like we cannot overcome it, the first step is to start to listen to a different voice in our mind, a different voice in our head, that of the higher self or of your creative self. Higher self sometimes is a term that puts a bit of a distance between, oh, it's high or it's deep. It is, but it isn't. It's always there. And as soon as you start to engage with that creative part of yourself, you're going to start to find points of view, directions, solutions that you didn't hear before. And the doom and gloom comes from when these other programmed voices are too loud and they overcome that and they put doubt in. So recognize the creative part of yourself that has answers to your challenges, to your problems. The second thing is, once this process has come forth, so once you have been, for example, and I'm talking about being stuck because those are the problems that we are more dreading, that bring us more pain and suffering. So once we've engaged with our higher self and we've gotten this creative solution, then we need to be resilient. We need to understand that sometimes things disappear altogether, but sometimes they take time. And so our resilience goes together with our acceptance of whatever that challenge or problem. Problem is before the higher self speaks. Challenge and chance of growth is after the higher self has spoken. And that's how the higher self sees it. So when the higher self speaks, you realize that that problem is actually an opportunity for growth, to become stronger. And once you've engaged with this process, so you've got this creativity and you've eliminated doubt because you've engaged enough with that part of yourself that is creative and it has the answers and it's carrying you forward, and you accept that whatever that problem is, you face it, you start to move forward. And because the creative process is a continuous process, the more you engage, the more the creativity increases, the more you find different points of view of solutions. And so from being stuck with something, you start to find a way, you start to move forward, and that starts to fuel your self-power. So once all of this is going, another advice that I can share with you, which has been infinitely important in my life, and that in states of extreme depth where the higher self of my clients and friends that I help through this process speaks, there there is, how can I put it, this capability that we have to let go of our life story altogether, which is real meditation. So, meditation is a lot of things to a lot of people, and some of you that know me may have heard this before. There's different things, but the deepest form of meditation is when you leave your lower self and your higher self behind. Not just the lower self, also the higher self. And you leave your life story behind. Because your challenges, your problems, they are inserted in your life story. And your life story isn't just an accumulation of random events or ordered events. It's what you make of them and how you tell them in your mind. That is the biggest difference of how we see our life story. So, in this process of engaging our creative higher self, that starts to change our problems into challenges and growth, and we start to move on. We change not just our life trajectory, but the way we look back, and it changes our life story. It really does. I've had clients also that have come to see me after some time, and the way they talk about their life is completely different. The events are the same, but meditation isn't about changing your life story or achieving your goals. There's techniques for that, and that's fine too. But meditation is to surrender to complete nothingness, which basically is a spiritual vacation. Because when you go, or holiday, like they say in England, because when you go on holiday or you go on vacation, what you do is you abruptly interrupt your life story with something different. And the less you think about your life story, the more that holiday is successful. So basically, meditation in its real sense is a break. It isn't even a tool for self growth. I mean, yes, it does that, and it does it probably better than anything else. But at its core is you leave everything behind. That's why some masters say it's like dying. But it's more, it's like the death of the soul, not even the death of the body. You dissolve into nothingness. And the best way to describe it is that you take a timeless vacation from your life story. And then, more and more, the higher self's influence from the subconscious starts to become predominant. And that is what we could call grace. Grace carrying us forward.